If you're coaching more than 10 hours a week, you're actually losing money. Now, here's something that most people don't really think about. And the reason why I don't think about it is because that most business owners think that if it will be, then it's up to me. And what I mean by that is that they want to be in the trenches and doing the things in order for their business to grow. One thing that we talk about with our profit builders, AKA our FitBiz clients, is that you actually are doing yourself and you're doing your business a disservice by trading a $10 an hour job for a $1,000 an hour job. So let me give you an example. When you think about what you're doing in your gym, most of you guys are doing and wearing all the hats. So you're nurturing leads, you're coaching sessions, you are mopping the floors, you are handling all the one-on-ones, you're doing all the lead nurture calls, you're doing all these pieces that, in all honesty, if like you were to fraction these things off and give them to other people, you would pay them far less than what it would even take you to acquire a customer. Because if we really gave you your time back throughout the course of the day, and the best example I can give you is this, is I always like to sit down with people and when we go through and we're talking about their business and I'm like, cool, tell me this, how much money do you pay your coach per session that they're working right now, right? And the person says, Dave, I paid $15 to $25. Like, okay, gotcha. How long is the session? Okay, my sessions are 45 minutes and then a 5-minute stretch and then basically 10 minutes before the next class. Okay, so you pay them $25 for the hour. Completely understand that. Okay, so that's $25 for an hour that you're paying yourself. If you were to backtrack that and if you were to look at it in regards to what if instead of you training a session, because that's a $25 hour job, what if you were acquiring new customers by sitting in on sales consultations in that same time period? Now, I know that if you're looking at this thing, let's say you're able, for easy math, let's say you're able to get in 2 people per day. All right, let's say that you're a pretty decent salesperson, which means that you're going to close 50% of the deals. So I say, okay, how much is your front end offer? Well, my front end offer is $250. Okay, awesome. How long does it take you to close them? Well, it takes about 45 minutes or 30 minutes to close. Gotcha. Okay, so if you had the opportunity to sit in front of 4 people, if you had 2 closes, that means that you would be able to create $500 in new revenue in comparison to that same hour that you're actually paying out $25. Does that make sense? So I get it. You love to sit in the sessions, you love to do those pieces, but it's also because you don't want to do the other pieces that it takes in order to be successful. If you're watching this and you're like, well, Dave, like, I don't know if I can afford somebody. Well, I don't know if you cannot afford somebody. And what I mean by that is like, trade the task out. Trade away the $25, but give that in all aspirations of being better and working directly on your closing percentage. Now, the next piece that I want to hit on is being able to just delegate those low-level tasks. And this goes into that $1,000 as well, because in that same hour or in that same time period, you don't have the time to call the leads. You don't have the time to nurture the prospects from coming in. You are also handling any of the admin work and all the pieces that it goes along to be successful. And maybe you're not doing those things, but maybe you're overseeing them and they're still not getting done. So you're coming on the backside and doing them anyway. So in the same time slot, instead of spending that time focusing on sales and focusing on things that it takes for your business to grow, you are enamored in $10 to $15 an hour jobs, or even less than that you can give away, that you can delegate to other individuals to have them do those, and then you hold the standard. And the majority of the time that I see, there are 2 things that I think that always come into play with CEOs that kind of deprive them from being successful. Number 1 is that they're afraid to delegate tasks because they're afraid to hold people accountable. That's a scary thing. That's something that most people don't want to hear, but the truth of the matter is that it's not because you don't know how to do it. It's because you can create a process, you can go through all the things that it takes in order to be successful. You just struggle to hold people accountable, right? And I get that, but that also is a point of learning and a point that you can take to get better. The other side of things is that you don't manage your calendar well. And what I mean by that is you should live by your calendar. As the CEO of your business, as the CEO of your household, as whatever it looks like, you should live by your calendar. You should be able to look at your calendar to determine what are the successful items that need to be done on each individual day in order for your business to grow and in order for you to grow as a person. So when we're looking at this, one of the cool things that I think about is like just looking at your weekly CEO calendar. That calendar being set will allow you opportunity to do pieces, and then also will allow you time that's non-negotiable that's in your schedule that you can bake in so that you can get the top things done to move your business forward, right? There are a couple different functions when it comes to separating your calendar or when it comes to building out your calendar. And so like, let's just simply walk through those. Number 1 is that we want to make sure that we have some time for ourselves that's built in, right? Now, preferably this isn't in the middle of the day because that's time that can be spent growing your business, but we want to make sure that we have time that's built in. That should be a non-negotiable. That time should be time that is spent in regards to like you being able to make yourself better, whether it's by, reading, whether it's working out, whether it's things that go along with what you need to do in order to grow as a CEO and grow as a person. Number 2 is that we need to ensure that we have time for company growth. right? So whether this is a weekly meeting or whether this is just simple things that you can directly put on your calendar that allow your company the ability to grow or that open up time directly with you. This also would include like your meetings if you have a manager, or this would include your meetings if you were to have like your whole fitness department in, depending on how big your business is. The next is that you want to ensure that you have time that is set apart for marketing and for advertisement. And the reason why those are important is because you still have to know what's in the market. Even if you're using an outside source like us, it is still good to know what's in the marketplace, to know what is actually out there so you can keep up with the times. And then that allows you to be able to make better decisions when they're positioned to you by whoever it is that you're working with. Number 4 is that you want to ensure that you have a time for daily reflection. Now, this is something that's a little different, and I know there's all kinds of different people that are going to tell you different things, but I enjoy the daily reflection time at the end of the day. The reason why I think that this is super valuable for business owners is because during that daily reflection time, what we can do is that we can look at our entire day and we can kind of give it a scorecard. We can look at the entire day and say, what were the 3 things that I attacked on today? And then we can also set up what are the 3 things that I need to do tomorrow. Now, this is great because over time, what happens is that those 3 things that are placed on the bottom of the day get replaced at the top of the day on the next day. And then that scorecard continues to grow because now you have the ability to assess on a day-to-day action reel, like what actually happened in real time in comparison to like not remembering on a day-to-day basis what it looks like. So you're not just pushing through and doing the same thing every day. The last piece that I think is super important is at the end of the week is you have a quick time that is set that you can accomplish any task that you missed from during the week. I call this my CEO time. And in that time, I do 2 things. One is that I check for all my tasks to ensure that like I've done everything that I've committed to for the week. And then number 2 is I ensure that like I have went through anything that has been given to me by anybody else on the team over the course of the week to ensure that like that loop gets closed and to ensure that everything moves in the direction that it should be. And so if you can do those things, then at the end of the day, like you can manage your time, but then more importantly, you can get your time back in order to be successful.